Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. So today I've got Anna joining me. Hi, Anna.
Hi, Amanda.
Guys, we have a really exciting video about how to do a mental diet properly to speed up your manifestation. So Anna's got a bunch of tips and tricks that hopefully you guys can find something that you can change with your mental diets to speed up your manifestations, because you deserve everything you want and you deserve it now. And we're going to help you do that. But just before we dive into that, I just want to let you guys know that we are having a contest where when we reach 100,000 subscribers, and we're getting there, we are giving away 3 free coaching sessions to 3 different people. How do you enter? Good question. All you need to do is share our videos on your social media platforms, as well as subscribe, and also comment. What have you actually manifested with the law of attraction? Let's comment what we've manifested and created to give other people hope, because when someone sees that you were able to do it, they're going to feel like they're able to do it. So let's help each other out. So without any further ado, Anna, let's have the tips and tricks on how to do our mental diets and what we may be missing if we're hitting a wall and we're getting stuck. So
Hi, everyone. So something important to remember about the mental diet is that it's not just your affirmations. During the coaching sessions, we come up with affirmations that you can use for whatever you're manifesting, but that is only one part of your mental diet. People tend to think that, so I've been affirming several times during the day, so I'm doing the mental diet. But sometimes when I ask, like, what do you do in between? And the answer is often, well, I worry, I start overthinking, overanalyzing to understand what maybe there was something I could do. All that is mental diet, but you're just doing the mental diet on something that you don't want to manifest. So you keep yourself in that place. You want to pay attention to what your thoughts are during the whole day. And also, it's not just your thoughts during the sets. A lot of people do sets and then they affirm, which is great, do it. But your mind thinks 24/7. You can't and shouldn't stop or try stopping the thoughts. The thoughts flow. It's a constant flow. And of course, you can't control all your thoughts. That's not the point. But the point is that mental diet is not just the affirming here and there. It's also what you think about the subject in between. So if you worry a lot, if you overthink a lot, you want to pay attention. And instead of doing that, stop it and affirm instead. Mm-hmm. That is doing mental diet correctly. Like, stop the negative thoughts about the situation and affirm. Stop and affirm every time, even though you're not in sets. It still works, and it's still important, because what you create is the total of all your thoughts. Like, it's the collaboration of all your thoughts during the day. Exactly. So it's very important to pay attention to what you're doing in between those sessions that you affirm. I often say, like, there are several times a day that you can use for affirming. Like, when you do things that you don't have to concentrate on, like you're walking to the supermarket, or you're doing something in the house, like cleaning or whatever you're doing, that you don't have to think. Affirm instead. Yes, that's great. That's your affirmation session. But if you start overthinking, like, ask yourself, well, why am I doing this? My thoughts create. Like, that thought is just the reminder has helped me a lot. Like, oh my God, wait a minute. All my thoughts create. Why am I doing this to me? Why am I doing this to myself? Right?
Exactly. And you're right. Okay. So for instance, I will do something and I'll think, oh, Andrew's going to get angry. And then guess what happens? Andrew gets angry, because in that moment when I was taking that action, I didn't catch that thought. I thought, oh, Andrew's going to get angry. And then sure enough, he did. But I should have been like, Andrew, no, he's not going to get angry. He's going to be happy with this. He's not even going to care. Like, it's in those moments, right? When we have that negative thought, finish the thought, right? Stop yourself. For instance, I have, like, everyone as you pushed out little notes around the house. I've got little Jerry dolls everywhere to remind me. So find something that reminds you to keep yourself. Like, for instance, some people put elastic and they slap themselves as a pattern interrupt. Something we learned in NLP to stop the pattern of thinking snap yourself out of it and bring yourself forward. Like, for instance, me and Andrew have what we call safe words. Okay. So if I'm complaining about something, he'll say something to trigger me out of it and to stop me, and vice versa, because we've got that deal with each other, because we know our thoughts create, right? So yeah, very, very great tips there. That it's not just about, my affirming when I'm doing dishes. It's when, when I'm just going about my day, not really thinking about it. Right.
Yeah, and I use that, like, the very basics of manifestation. My thoughts create, and that's it. It's not just your affirmations create. Affirmations are just new thoughts that you're repeating to create a new thought pattern to replace the other thoughts. All your thoughts are affirmations, and your affirmations are as effective as your negative thoughts. And your mind, I keep saying this, your mind doesn't care what it's creating. It's what it's manifesting. It's just going to manifest whatever you feed it with. It's like you're worrying, you're overthinking, your mind will be, oh, so that's what we're doing now? Okay, great. Now I'm just going to give you that, because you keep thinking it. Obviously, you're going to manifest it.
Exactly. I think something else was interesting that you mentioned before we did the video. You're mentioning that not just the affirmations, but all the things that go into the mental diet, like your inner conversations. I think that's really important for you to mention to everybody to go over.
Yeah, everything that is happening in your mind is creative. And if you pay attention, you talk to people. Also, while you're washing the dishes, you argue with people, you imagine stuff, you daydream, you do whatever you're doing in your mind is creative. So it's not just the thoughts. Thoughts are what's starting it, but we are creative. Our non-physical part is very creative, and you start daydreaming about something, you start visualizing something, and it starts to flow. So pay attention to who you're arguing with in your head, who you're talking to. And sometimes we talk to our friends about our SP, for example. That happens a lot in your mind. Try to pay attention to what you're telling them. Well, whether you're complaining about your SP, whether your friends are complaining about your SP, and if you're having conversations with your SP, what they're saying to you. Sometimes we are so used to mostly negative before we start manifesting seriously, consciously. We are so used to everything negative and the arguing and the complaining and everything that we don't even notice it. So when you start paying attention, it takes training to start understanding yourself, like what is happening in your mind, because a lot of it is just so normal. You don't even know it's there. It's only when you start taking the mental diet seriously that you pay attention to, oh my God, what am I thinking now? It's like, oh, I was arguing again. Okay, change it. Oh, right. I was complaining again. Okay, change it. Or I was visualizing myself crying, maybe. Okay, why am I doing this? It's manifesting.
Right. Or you get like an email, and then all of a sudden, you're having the fight in your head about how you're going to deal with it before you even deal with it. No, you've totally nailed it. Like, you've totally nailed it. We have these conversations in our head, and yet, half the time it's not what we want to focus on. And another thing, right, is sometimes we have patterns, like with people, like we had them and we've created them to show up a certain way. So we think, oh, Jerry's going to be late. He's always late. And, and we're thinking that thought because it's happened, but no, we're thinking that thought because we created it over and over and over and over again. And it's now become a manifestation in our reality that our subconscious mind is put on autopilot. And we think, oh no, that's just the way Jerry is. So we also have to realize that people are not their behavior, and their behavior is completely changeable with our assumptions, and to not hold people to the behavior they had yesterday that you didn't like. So what, he was late yesterday doesn't mean he has to be late tomorrow. He can turn over a new leaf. It's just because he drank yesterday doesn't mean he has to drink tomorrow. You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. And a lot of times and this is people who don't know we're manifesting, like, I have this very bad feeling something bad is going to happen. And then it happens and they go, I knew it. See, I told you. It's like,
right?
Yeah, I could have told you too. Like, you manifested
it. Or you created it. Like, which one was that, right? My money's on creating it, but okay. No, that's so true. The other thing that we were talking about was that your thoughts create your feelings. So if you don't know what you're thinking, check in with your feelings because those are created by your thoughts. So if you're not sure what thoughts are going on up there and you feel anxiety when you think about your specific person, your SP, then we need to get on our mental diet, because if you have a good solid mental diet, you won't feel bad. You'll feel good because you're supposed to be thinking thoughts that make you feel good.
Yeah, definitely. And that usually happens when you're, well, of course, when you feel bad. And what it does mostly is that it makes your mind foggy. Like you can't concentrate because you have this uncomfortable, ugly feeling. You don't even know where it's coming from. You don't have to. Just the realization that, oh my God, I feel bad. I must be thinking something that I don't want to manifest. So something that I tell my clients to do is to write down their affirmations so that they have them there. Because when you feel bad and you're in this uncomfortable state and you can't concentrate, even though you know what you're manifesting, even though you know what your affirmations are, your mind just can't concentrate in that moment. Have them written there, read them instead. Like if you can't remember, you don't know, like it's like, yeah, I know I'm manifesting an SP, but read your affirmations.
Yeah, no, you're right. 100%. Anna's totally right. It's static. When you're trying to change something, especially thought patterns that you have before, it's like in your head and they're static. So have them written down, have them ready to go, and then revise them a lot, because you may have 20 affirmations today, and then like 5 of them may actually manifest in your reality. Once they manifest in your reality, you actually don't need to reaffirm them. You're good until you see something different. So then those 5 can go. And then what are you working on now? Rewrite your next list. And then pretty soon what you'll find is that you just flow easily like that because you're in the habit of it, right? Yeah, very
exactly. Much. It becomes easy. And especially in the beginning, it looks like a huge work because, you know, in the beginning, we have a lot to work on. It's the self-concept. It's how we imagine relationships in general, men, women. We have a lot of ideas that we've learned. And then there's this thing like all men are like this or all women are like this. A lot of people have those assumptions that when you start manifesting an SP, all those things come up to the surface, and your experiences with the exes and whatever. So in the beginning, it's a lot, and the negative thoughts are a lot. So it looks like a lot of work. It's okay. It's hard. It's not easy in the beginning. It's not easy. But as you go along, as you get used to this way of thinking, not reacting, like you see something and then you go, oh, I created it, so I can change it. That way of thinking, and you change it, you change it, you change it. At some point, you arrive to a point where a lot has changed. You are in a better place, so you can concentrate more. You have less to work on. So it becomes easier. Exactly. Even though it in the beginning it can seem like something impossible. I can't do this. It's a lot.
You don't even know where to start half the time. Well, a good place to start is my thoughts create, and I'm going to change my reality as of right now. And that statement alone is completely powerful. So the last point we were actually talking about was, if you guys aren't sure of what you're thinking up here, you can always see what's been programmed into your subconscious mind by what shows up in your, say it with me now, reality.
Yeah. That's actually a question I get sometimes. Like, no, one of the questions that I get a lot is that I don't know how I created this. I don't know where I got this belief from. I don't know what belief created it. It doesn't matter. Like, if you just need to look around and see what you're experiencing. Do you like it? If you like it, keep doing whatever you're doing. If you don't like it, like, that's your answer. Whatever it is, take it and affirm the opposite. And if you have other blocks, if you have other things that are creating it that you're not aware of, if it's important, it will come up. It will come up, and then you will work on it. But you don't have to know what you are, where it came from. It could have come from your childhood or whatever that you won't even remember.
Yeah.
You don't have to. Your reality, your 3D is your answer.
Guys, okay, I've had thoughts that I have just said at the pub drunk when I was like 20 years old show up 20 years later in my life, okay? And I'm like, what? And I didn't even mean it. I didn't even mean it. I just said it. I just agreed with somebody. And then all of a sudden I'm plagued with it all of a sudden, right? So yeah, like, you know what? You're right. Anna's 100% right. Don't even bother. You can go on an archaeological dig, figure out where that belief came from, but you're no further than where you were when you first figured it out, because you still have to recognize it and affirm the exact opposite, right? And then also add in there what you're going to see, hear, and feel when you get what you want with that exact opposite, because it was more than one negative thought sometimes that have created a resistance in a relationship. So it's going to be more than one positive thought. So hit it at every angle. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, things that you just think on a whim sometimes, barely finish the thought, and then it shows up and you had that sort of thought, that sort of feeling, and then there it is, and it's like, oh boy.
Yeah. And if you know the belief, sometimes we do, sometimes you have this limiting belief that is blocking it. Great, you work on that. But if you don't know, it's not a problem.
No.
It's not your problem to solve, to go back and figure out a childhood or whatever. If you do, great. But if you don't, your 3D is your answer, because you can only experience in physical reality what you are aware of. So if you are experiencing something, it means it's in your awareness. It's an assumption somewhere. And your assumption is just what you get in front of you.
Exactly. And you know what? Nothing is ever broken. Nothing has ever set you back. It's all in good time, and it's all in your time. And always make the assumption that no matter what happens, good or bad, that it's getting you closer to the goal, right? Like, for instance, whenever I have a fight with Andrew, I always intend that it's going to get us closer together, and it does. And I intend that we always get along too, right? But like, it happened, so we're going to make the best of it, and then we're going to intend that it never happens again and we get along, right? So it's just about looking at your reality and not figuring out why, and not trying to find out how dysfunctional you are, or when it got broken, or when you decided to think that. You decided to think that at one point, and now you're deciding not to think of that. And it's really as simple as that. I mean, it's simple. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's simple, and I intend it's easy. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I often say that we tend to think, like, if I start overanalyzing, I might understand something more. I might understand why he or she said it. You are not going to understand anything. It's just an assumption. You are going to just create assumptions. And what your mind does is manifest it. Again, it doesn't care whether you're analyzing or imagining or remembering or whatever it is. It's just whatever you keep feeding it, it keeps pushing out. So it's not that you get more knowledge about the situation, about the relationship or whatever, just by overanalyzing and worrying. Start thinking about your mind as a creative tool. What am I manifesting now? That's the question. Like, every second, like, especially when you're feeling bad, what am I manifesting? Is it something that I want? If yes, keep going. If no, stop the thought. Even though sometimes it's comforting to keep arguing, I need to tell him this, I need to tell her this, right?
Comforting. Way too comforting sometimes. Yeah. Way too comforting. We get
make yourself stop. Yeah,
no, 100%. Oh my goodness, Anna, you know your stuff. Guys, Anna's looking for this, is available for clients. Definitely sign up in the description below. There's the link. If you want to ask me a question, Amanda, I am available for questions on the Patreon group. Again, link in the description below. But guys, so your tips to, do your mental diet better is to watch what you're thinking, watch your mental conversations, your arguments, to really get aware of what you're thinking. If that's not working, check in with your feelings. If you're feeling anxiety about the future, then you need to get on your mental diet. And the third thing is, look at your surroundings and don't try to analyze about where you got damaged. Just renounce it. Just acknowledge and renounce it by creating the opposite intention. So awesome tips, Anna. You're amazing.
Thank you.
I love it, guys. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.